Today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite business models to do with HighLevel, and it has to do with renting out websites to local businesses. Now, this is not selling websites, this is building your own website, ranking it on Google, and then renting it out to a local business so that if for some reason that business owner stops paying you, you still own the website. You just find a new tenant for the property. So it's a really cool model. It's similar to owning rental properties, except it costs a lot less to get started. Okay, so the way that this business model works is we use a software called HighLevel. HighLevel allows us to build unlimited websites on their platform. And we can also have what's called unlimited sub-accounts, which means that every single business property that we create can have its own dashboard, its own emails, its own phone numbers, everything on its own account. That way, when we rent it out to a local business, they're getting all the leads that come from that site, and it's not commingling with our other websites. So it allows us to have unlimited freedom to create as many of these as we want to for one low price that we pay HighLevel. So let me show you what happens after that. So we build a website. I'm going to show you more detail, but I'm just giving you the overview here. So we build a website on HighLevel, and then we rank it on Google for terms that would be relevant to that site. So if it was a concrete site in Dallas, Texas, it would be dallasconcrete.com. We would rank that on Google for various terms like concrete contractor in Dallas, Texas, concrete Dallas, Texas, all those different things. Once it's ranking, then we find a local concrete contractor in Dallas and we rent the site out to them for a monthly fee, or in many cases what we've been doing is a weekly fee, which means that every week they're paying us a small amount of money, maybe a few $100s, or one of our sites we're renting for $75 a week because it's only generating a couple leads per week. So it's a great deal for them. They're getting all the leads that come from the website. And it's a great deal for us because literally we're not having to negotiate back and forth what was a good lead, what was a bad lead. They literally take every lead, and every single week we get $75 right to our Stripe account, which is really cool. So you can do this for whatever price is fair depending on the volume of leads that you're getting. But we're starting out just because that particular site is only getting a few leads a week. We want to make sure that it's fair to them and fair for us. So as it gets more rankings, as it goes higher on Google, then we'll renegotiate the price. And if for some reason they decide it's not for them, then we can just rent it out to somebody else. So it's just a constantly growing asset that we have because we've built it on our own platform, and we own the domain, we own the emails, we own everything, so that if somebody stops paying, we just find a new tenant and we didn't really lose anything. The great deal about this, instead of a traditional rental model where you have properties out there and you're having to pay a mortgage, is if you lose a renter, lose a tenant, you likely still have a mortgage that you're having to pay. So you're scrambling to find a new tenant to fill the space. With us, we just have some more leads potentially coming in. We could give those out for free to local contractors if we wanted to just satisfy the customers that are calling our site until we find somebody that can actually rent it. And that's actually the best way to find clients, is giving them free leads up front and then ultimately saying, do you want this to keep going? If so, it would be $500 per week, and we'll send you every lead that comes from our site. That's kind of the overview. I am going to show you how to go and kind of find areas and things to start building these sites in, but this video is just going to be kind of introducing you to the idea. Now, there is another model to do that can kind of speed things up, because this process can take several months to do, sometimes even longer. Building the site takes a while, and then also ranking it can take a while, and you might not even actually rank it on Google for several months, if not years, depending on how competitive the search is in that area. So another model that you might consider if you do have a little bit of money to get started is this. Okay, the second type of model that you can do is called rent and rank. The first one was called rank and rent, which means we rank the site on Google and then we rent it out. This is rent and rank, meaning that we rent the site out and then we spend some time ranking it. Now, how do we actually deliver some leads in the meantime? That's the question. So what we do is we still build the website, because we can do it in just a couple clicks on HighLevel, which I'll show you how to do in just a moment. But then what we're doing is we're using a software called UpX. UpX integrates with HighLevel, and it allows you to run Facebook and Google ads in just a matter of a couple of clicks. So you're still running these to your own website, and what you're doing is you're getting a couple sample leads for concrete, for example, and then once we do, we're giving them to a local concrete contractor and saying, hey, here's a couple free leads, and then after that, we're saying we can keep these leads going if you want to pay us $500 a week or $300 a week or whatever makes sense for your scenario, you're going to have to play around with that figure. It varies depending on niche and volume of leads. But whatever you settle on, you take that money and a portion of it you're using to run more ads to satisfy getting those leads for the business owner. All the while that you're doing that and that machine is working and those leads are coming in, you're also continuing to try to rank the site on Google. So the ideal scenario in this is that you're spending maybe $300 a week on ads and the client is paying you $500 or $600 a week to generate those leads, and then you're making a little bit of spread on top. What we've done for some of ours is the initial period, a majority of the money that the client is giving us, we're putting into ads. That gives us a lot of data. That tells us, okay, in this area, it's costing us $10 per lead to bring a lead in, or $20 per lead, or whatever. But we're using the client's money to do it, and we're delivering the leads to them. So that all is working fine. We're not promising them something and not delivering. They're still getting leads all throughout this process. But our whole goal during this is to keep the client happy, keep leads coming in. But the most important thing is that we're building this asset up. We're trying to rank this site on Google while we're delivering the leads. Now, a couple things might happen. We might figure out better ads to run, which reduces our ad cost. So it increases how much money we're making every week. But another thing might happen is we start ranking on Google pretty quickly if it's not a very competitive area. And then we can cut out or downgrade a lot of the money that we're spending on ads. And then we keep more spread that way too. So a lot of different things can happen, but this allows us to get money coming in very quickly. Now, if you've never run a Facebook or Google ad, then I don't encourage you to do this model because you do need to deliver some leads to the business owner up front, number one, and then eventually you're going to have to do that on a consistent basis once you negotiate a price with them on a weekly basis. So if you're brand new to anything online, I would recommend doing the first model that I talked about earlier, and just learning about ranking websites and things like that. And then once you have a site that's bringing in some leads, then you can rent it out. But if you do have a little money to spend, then I recommend testing some Facebook ads, setting up a quick couple pages of a website, and bringing some leads in. Start giving them out for free to local contractors to service those leads. And then once your site is ranking, or you figure out really good ads that you can run that don't cost nearly as much as you thought, then you can still make a spread on what the business owner is giving you. So that is kind of the overview. Now let me take you into Google and ChatGPT and just show you some other things around this business. I'll be doing a lot more content about this because it is one of my favorite business models to do. I really feel like it gives you full freedom and power to control the assets and not have clients dictating how much they're going to pay you and all that stuff. It literally is something that you own an asset. You're building a portfolio of assets that can continue to pay you month after month, regardless if you lose a client or not. Okay, so let me show you a little bit more on this. Okay, here we are on ChatGPT, and what I like to do here is just give you some city ideas and some industry ideas to start looking on Google for. Then I'm going to bring you over to Google and show you what I would do kind of in my initial searches here. So what I like to do here is just say, can you give me a list of cities in the US that are under 250,000 population? See, I misspelled cities there. That's okay. And this is just going to give us a rundown of cities. Let me try a different way because sometimes it only gives me a few. Give me a list of 100 of them. This is just going to give me a ton of different cities. Okay, so as this is building out, then some of the top niches that I've been going after lately are concrete sites, tree service sites, fencing sites, just really kind of the everyday contractor that has to go out to a property and deliver a result. We don't want to necessarily have something that is a location where people have to come in and get, look at different options. We're having contractors that are going out and giving bids. Or if it's an emergency service, like an emergency plumber or something, those are all great too. So let's just scroll through. Let's pick a name here just at random. Let's do Clearwater, Florida. So we'll copy that and we'll go over to Google here. I'm just going to do Clearwater, Florida concrete contractor. So you can see a lot of times, like this one, Clearwater, Florida concrete contractor, these are oftentimes you'll see if it's what's called an exact match domain. That's oftentimes a lead generation company. It does look like they're running ads here, so maybe they're already doing this model. But if we scroll down here, A lot of times you'll see like pros at the end too. So you can see this particular city is likely already getting a couple contractors. What I'm looking for here is, are the top results here in these organic searches, are they all like really strong websites and it's all filled up? Or am I seeing like Yelp and Angie's List and Better Business Bureau, things like that? If that's filling up the top results, then that's typically telling me that Google doesn't have enough local results to show in this top search area, at least ones that they feel are relevant. So this is a decent one. What we can do then is we can switch over to fencing. Okay, so a lot of these are, got an Angie's List here. Now in future videos, I'll show different tools I use to really analyze competition, but this is just kind of a first glance look here. Let's do garage door contractor. Oops. Okay, so any of these are worth exploring a little further, and if for some reason we're just not seeing anything that we think we could outcompete, I'll talk more about SEO and kind of local search and bring on some experts on that, because I'm still learning myself on that process. But let's just click on a couple of these sites and see. Locally owned and operated more than 30 years, so it's likely this isn't a lead generator here. Overhead door, Clearwater, Garage Doors, Florida. Okay, so decent competition here. Let's go back to the concrete one and see. Okay, so this is a perfect example of somebody doing this model already. So it's Clearwater, Florida concrete. Scroll down. Like I said, typically if you see like pros at the end, that's somebody that's a lead generator company. It's just a common thing people put on the end of their websites. And this one probably is too. We'll click on that in a second. But you can see they're really ugly, simple sites. You can create much better looking sites on HighLevel, but it does the trick, right? There's not much to this site as far as design goes, but it's still ranking #1 for that search term, which is really cool, right under Yelp. So if I see Yelp as a top result and then maybe Angie's List and then a site, that gives me a lot of confidence that that's an area I could probably go in and rank. Now, we'll use some other tools in future videos and really show you more about what you're looking for here. And again, if you're an SEO expert out there, I'd love for you to come on the channel and talk even more. But we've already ranked a few successfully with not knowing a ton about SEO, at least the new way to do it, and we're already getting some results. So I really think with a little bit of training, looking on YouTube, you can do this as well. Let's click on this one, see how this looks. Same kind of thing. Nothing going on here, just a phone number. I mean, it's a very simple site you could create in a half an hour. And it's ranking #3 for that. So you could see that's why they're likely running ads too, because their site needs a little bit more content, in my opinion, to rank #1 compared to the first site we had. So that is the kind of research side, and you can just do this on ChatGPT. Just start going over every city, start finding different combinations. You can look up other industries, just find some areas that you feel like you could go in. Then what I like to do is buy what's called, as I said earlier, an exact match domain, something that is very close to the search term I'm looking for. So it would be Clearwater Concrete Pros, like we already saw, or Fargo Concrete Guys, or just something like that. That way we have Clearwater Concrete in the domain name, or clearwaterconcretecontractors.com, if we could get that, something like that. Then we're going to go over to HighLevel and we're going to build out the website. So let me show you that part. Okay, here we are inside of HighLevel, and what I like about this is, again, you can have unlimited websites, but you can also have unlimited what's called sub-accounts, which means every property that you have, so clearwaterconcretepros.com, that would have its own dashboard with its own emails and its own phone numbers, and everything that has to do with that digital property that you have is housed in one sub-account. And you have unlimited sub-accounts that you can have with HighLevel on their $297 per month plan, which makes it really easy for you to keep everything organized, especially when you're renting this out, because you don't want to have 10 different sites where if a phone number is attached to one property and you get a call, then that business owner is getting notified for a different phone call that's coming in for a different property. You don't want it. It makes it way too confusing. You just have one property per site, and if you want to build other sites around that you're also going to rent out to that same business owner, you can do all of that on that one account, but just make sure that that asset that you're building, that everything that's tied to it is just on its own sub-account. So this is just on a test account that we have here. But inside of here, if I want to start launching this, I'm just going to go in either with Funnel AI I can do. Let's try this just to show you how easy it is. So Funnel AI is a funnel builder that is powered by AI. and we can have it basically build the majority of a website for us. They're not perfect yet. This is a brand new feature, but it gets us 80% of the way there. So we're going to do continue here. And then we're going to do, let's just do Clearwater Concrete, guys. And then it's a concrete contractor. Hit next. Friendly, let's do professional and hit generate. Takes a few seconds and it's going to actually build a lot of the pages for us and fill in some of the content as well. Okay, and that took about a minute or so to create. You can see just kind of the layout and the overview here is done. We're going to have to go and swap out a lot of the content here, but just the overall structure of the website is done. Let's see if it made any other pages too. So it just made the first page here, which is cool, but you can go in and just swap out the logo. You can create a logo. I've done videos on that in Canva. You can swap out the logo here. And then what's also cool is inside of here, if you didn't like what this had to say, you can highlight it and then use this little AI robot here, generate with AI, write a headline for Clearwater Concrete, guys. Okay, and you can see it gave me a few different options here. If I liked any of these, I can just hit copy, continue, and then it changes right there. So we'll talk more about the SEO side of that because that will play a role in what you put in here. You can obviously go and change fonts and colors and all of that, but just showing you how you can have a simple framework to get started with this. And I have a ton of templates. If you actually use our link down below to sign up for HighLevel, I have hundreds of templates that I'll give you guys that are already built out websites for just about every industry that you can think of to go out and do this as well. So I just wanted to kind of show you an overview of how all of this works. So let me wrap up here on the other screen. Okay, so today I showed you a couple different business models that you can do with HighLevel. Firstly, rank and rent, which means you take HighLevel, you build a website, you rank it on Google, then you rent it out to a contractor for a monthly price or a weekly price. I like to do weekly prices for a couple different reasons. Number one, the contractors typically get paid on cash flow. They're paying out their crews and everything on a weekly basis. So charging them by the week makes it easier for them cash flow wise versus you're charging them $2,000 a month at the first of the month. It's a little bit harder for a lot of those guys to come up with it than if it's $500 a week or $300 a week or whatever. And don't be afraid to start out really small. Like I said, one of our sites we're doing $75 a week because it's generating like 1 or 2 leads a week. So we didn't feel confident to charge them a ton of money till we can get the volume up on that site. But we still were able to get a client to rent that thing out, which is really cool. The other option that we're now kind of shifting into because we have cash coming into our business is the rent and rank, which means that I can now go out because I know that concrete leads are costing me maybe $10 or $15 a lead or $5 a lead or whatever it is, depending on the area. I can go out and run some ads using UpX, get some leads coming in, and then use that as my bait to go out and reach out to concrete contractors in the area and say, hey, I got a couple free leads for you. Would you mind taking care of them? And if for some reason it turns into some business for you, I'd love to sit down and chat with you about how to keep this thing going. And typically they'll say yes. It is a little bit of a challenge to find solid contractors to take the leads. They're going to promise you the moon and then actually not end up calling the customers back or whatever. So it took a few different tries for me to find some solid contractors to work with. But once you do, the system pretty much just runs in the background. The best part is that if for some reason either of these clients leave you at the end of the day, you still own the website. So you can just go find another tenant, but you don't have this mortgage like a typical rental that's looming over your head. You literally just have some asset that's out there that's generating leads, and you can use those leads to now become a new bait for a new contractor to reach out to. So either one of these models I really recommend. If you're starting with no experience or little experience, we'll be doing some more SEO tutorials and things on here and bringing on some experts as well. But I think this first model is great because you don't have to provide a lot of cash up front. It costs you $10 for the domain, and other than that, it's just going to be your sweat equity kind of building into this website as you're ranking it. And then once it's ranking or getting even a trickle of leads, you can be sending those out to contractors and getting a monthly or a weekly fee for that. So If you got some value out of this, comment down below. I want the free course. I'll send you an entirely free course on how to set HighLevel up in every aspect that we've done in the past to generate business and actually use it as a software tool that we sell to local businesses. And we'll be talking more in our community about how to actually do this rent and rank model as well. So with that, I'll wrap up. I'll talk to you on the next video. Thanks.